I'm super excited about today's sponsor. They've sponsored the podcast before, and this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I fear that us as girls struggle with PMS far more than we should, and we really shouldn't. I truly get the worst PMS symptoms. My boobs are sensitive, my face breaks out, my sugar controllings are out of whack. I feel like I'm just a bottomless pit. My mood is not the vibe, and estro control has been super helpful in helping manage those PMS symptoms and making that time of the month a lot more enjoyable. Estro Control is a formula developed by Happy Mammoth, a supplement company dedicated to making women's lives easier. Say no more. Estro Control contains science-backed herbal extracts that help support hormonal health, especially if you are someone like myself who struggles with PMS. It was created to help women feel like themselves all month long and to not struggle with the feelings PMS can cause. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code Alana at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code Alana for 15% off today.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Celebrity voice impersonation not an endorsement. Why go to a single furniture store when you can go to Big Sandy Superstore? Shop and compare America's top 5 mattress brands, plus Nectar and Purple. And choose from over 22,000 in-stock appliances from the top brands at the guaranteed lowest price. Or furnish the room of your dreams with a large selection of American-built furniture. With financing plans for just about anyone, there's nowhere else quite like it. Big Sandy Superstore.
Hello, good morning, angels, and welcome back to Morning Ray. I'm your host, Lan or Alana, and today I have a really exciting guest on the podcast. I have Julianne Fraser. She's a digital marketing expert and founder of Dialogue New York. She has nearly a decade of experience crafting strategies for luxury and lifestyle brands in New York, Paris, Los Angeles, Stockholm, Tokyo, and Milan. She's worked with so many incredible brands such as Seed, Secura Life, Adidas, Gaia, Gold, Le Sport Sac, Shiseido, so many amazing brands, even Olipop, Daily Harvest, everything you know, everything we know and love, even public hotels here. Well, not here. I'm not in New York, but in New York. And I had the pleasure of having her on the podcast and getting to ask her questions surrounding influencer marketing, social media, brand building, and how to let go of your limiting beliefs, because I feel like that's something we all struggle with. And a lot of us are people pleasers at our core, or are constantly concerned about what other people will think about the actions and decisions we make. So we discuss all of those things, and I really think you're all going to really love Julianne. I had the opportunity to meet up with her in real life, not just through a video call, but in real life when I was in New York. And I think we had initially booked our meeting for like half an hour, maybe an hour, and we ended up chatting for close to 2 hours. So truly such an amazing gal, a fellow Canadian. She's from Edmonton, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think you're really going to love it. But, you know, I just want to thank you guys all for all of the positive and warm messages congratulating me on taking on this next big step in my career and in my life, and being self-employed, and also being vulnerable about being let go from my job and being truthful about that. So I just want to let you guys know that I really do appreciate all the kind messages. It really, really means a lot to me. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm just feeling like really warm and supported and really excited about what is to come and what this new chapter is going to hold, and I feel really good things. I feel like a month ago, I was saying to my best friend Corey, like, I'm about to glow up. Like, I just feel like I'm on the edge of like this new chapter, this new era, and this like new version of Lan. And I didn't think it was going to be this, but I'm really not mad that it's this. And I'm just like really excited to take you guys along on this journey and for us to experience this together. So thank you for your continuous support, all your kind and generous messages. And I just love you guys so much. And I feel so grateful that I'm able to call this my job. Kind of crazy, right? But let's get into our weekly intention. I spoke about this a bit on a vlog. I don't know if the vlog is up yet that I spoke about this on. But I have realized that as much as I really loved evening workouts when I was working in the office, they're not really working for me when I'm working from home / for myself. So I really want to get back into my morning workouts, have at least 5 workouts a week, and do them when I wake up in the morning like I used to. I just feel like my willpower is so much higher. I'm so much more motivated. I don't have to like procrastinate or find the motivation or self-discipline to go do it. It's a lot easier for me in the morning. And then I don't have to worry about like getting on ready before I go work out and stuff. Like I just wake up, brush my teeth, put my workout clothes on, and go. So that leads me to the tip of the week is to plan out your workouts and be consistent, and also use tricks like habit stacking or like pairing it with, I guess that is habit stacking, but just like pair the act of working out or whatever habit you want to incorporate with a habit you like doing or something you want to do. So for example, say you want to listen to your podcast and you want to work out, like pairing your workout with your podcast, like you got to do your workout while listening to your podcast sort of thing. So plan out your workouts, be consistent. The more consistent you are with it, the sooner you are going to get into a rhythm, the sooner it's going to be kind of like this automatic routine that you are in that you do without second thought, and it becomes a second nature to you. So those are some pieces of wisdom. I definitely feel like I have been influenced from reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've really been loving this book. I'm about halfway through. I'm actually going to read it after this recording, but I love it so much. Let's move into our current faves. I recently was sent an espresso Virtuo machine. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Alana, don't you have a Breville? I do. And now I have 2 coffee machines. I've always wanted the Nespresso Virtuo machine at home. I had, like when I was living with my parents, we had the classic machine, but I was always so curious of what the Virtuo pods are like. And I don't know, the machine just looks super cute. And the coffee pods always had like so many other options and cooler options. So very grateful that Nespresso has sent me this machine. I literally freak out about it on my vlog on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, definitely go check it out. I'm posting a lot more frequently there. I was aiming for 2 vlogs, but I think it might be 3 a week. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely loving my Nespresso Virtual machine. It's definitely helping me make more coffee at home. I'm just like really excited to not only brew shots on my Breville, because I feel like I've made it this whole thing where I'm like learning how to properly brew a shot, and I get so excited every single time I get closer to brewing the perfect shot, and it just like tastes good. And then I'm like really excited about my Nespresso because 1, I love the convenience of it, and 2, it's really fun trying out all the different pods, and it's like a new shiny object. So I've actually barely have bought in coffee out. The only times I've gotten coffee out is when I've met up with friends or my mom. So I feel like, you know, having 2 coffee machines at home, or 2 espresso machines to be specific, it has really helped my spending habits. So thank you, Nespresso, for helping me out over here. Also really loving the Rainbow 1111 Adaptogenic Mushroom Blend. I've been putting it in my first coffee that I've been having every single morning. I do 2 drops. It's just adaptogenic mushrooms. It's a mix of them. And I've heard really good things about it. I've been wanting to try it for a really long time. I actually got sent them from Beatrice Society, which is not only a coffee shop here in Toronto, but they also have like an online wellness store where they have a lot of adaptogenic and like health conscious brands available for purchase. But I really do love these rainbow drops. And I don't know, I haven't noticed anything significant, but I feel like I'm a lot calmer. My coffee doesn't make me anxious at all. So it's good vibes. I'm back into loving rice cakes with almond butter and some sort of like strawberry or banana on top. It's just so good. If you guys followed me for a really long time, my voice is going again, guys. I'm still getting over this freaking head cold. But wow, my voice. Okay, I'm very sorry about this. But rice cakes with almond butter and strawberries, a little bit of cinnamon and agave or honey. Chef's kiss, so good. Really, really recommend. Also, back into loving my Ultra Mini Uggs. I was wearing them today with jeans, and I just forgot how it feels like you're like walking on a cloud. They're so comfy. They're so cute. I also like the little, I think they're called the Tasmans or something, like the ones that are even shorter than the Ultra Minis that have the red stitching. Those are really cute. And then my last current fave are the Levi dad jeans. I can't remember if I spoke about these last week, but they are so cute and so flattering. I have them in the light blue. I believe it's called like Charlie Boy or something. They are so comfy. I love them. They're like the perfect jean for every day. Like they're not too wide. They're perfect rise. They stretch. They fit pretty much true to size, if anything, size down. And I just love them so much. But I'm going to end the intro right here. I'm going to bring Julianne onto the pod, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, you guys. I'm here with Julianne. Welcome to Morning Ray.
Thank you. So excited to chat with you.
I'm so excited to have you on. So for those who don't know you, who are you, where are you from, and what is your zodiac sign?
I love that. So I'm Julianne. I'm originally from Western Canada, another fellow Canadian. I'm from Edmonton. And I was born and raised there, and I moved to New York about 10 years ago. So I'm officially a New Yorker, as they say. But I am hard to like define myself in one set way. But I think from a career perspective, I am the founder of Dialogue New York. We're a digital marketing consultancy based in Brooklyn. And we specialize in building influencer marketing strategies for different luxury and lifestyle brands, whether it's Shiseido and Adidas on the corporate end, or Sakara Life, Seed Probiotics, Brooklinen, Harry's, Gia Gold, a lot in the startup space. And my zodiac sign, I am a Libra, and I am the epitome of Libra. I'm like all about balance, and I'm always sort of playing middle ground and, just trying to find equilibrium between people and situations. So pretty true to form. What about you? What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Leo.
Ah, my best friend's a Leo. I love that.
And now I have more Libras in my life, because not only are you a Libra, but my nephew is a Libra. He was born on October 3rd. So
oh my goodness. Libras are good energy. He's going to bring such like nice little balance to the family, I'm sure. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. He's so calm. Like I've never seen like such a calm newborn.
Your sister's lucky. That's like two things that are not usually in the same sentence, like a calm newborn, but
He's so cute. I know the listeners can't see, but I'll show you a photo that I got sent this morning.
Oh my God. So sweet with his little towel. I love it.
And this one is so adorable.
Oh my gosh. My daughter was that tiny just like 6 months ago. It's so crazy how fast they grow. It's nuts.
I know. To give you a picture, my nephew Ethan is like in this like white little fuzzy onesie. I don't know. My sister and brother-in-law John are obsessed with these onesies for him. And they just make him look so adorable. So I'm here for it.
I love that. So sweet. Such a cutie.
Yes, but enough baby talk. Let's dive into into influencer marketing and social media. I know it's such a hot topic. I know my listeners are always asking me questions about both sides of the game, like from the business perspective, like from the brand or an agency, as well as from the influencer perspective due to my participation online. But I want to know, what do you think influence actually means today? Because I feel like it's definitely changed over the past few years, like from like the OG blogger onto like the YouTube era. So what do you think influence actually means today? And also, where do you see the industry going? Because a lot of people have this discussion that, or this like idea that it's going to pop, like the bubble's going to burst, or like influence isn't going to be a thing. So I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts. I mean, just to give context, I started my career maybe 9 years ago, right around the time Instagram launched, and I started in the hospitality world. I was working at Ian Schrager Hotels and building out social media strategies for their hotel brands like the Delano in Miami and Mondrian and Hudson and whatnot. And so right around then, we were working with the OG influencers from Shea Marie or Chiara Ferragni or Ami Song, and they weren't really established as influencers per se. They were just creatives that were coming into town, and we were working on these campaigns in exchange for like hotel rooms and whatnot. It was very, very organic. But I would argue to say that influence has never really changed in the last decade. I think at its core, it really stems from people really looking for inspiration and a creative outlet, and to really learn from experts or people who have sort of a passion in a particular field. And I think from the early days of blogs and whatnot to TikTok today, that's always really remained the same, and I think is core to like what influencer marketing is, has always been. But I think what has changed is just the way in which we define an influencer. I think that oftentimes brands can kind of label influencer all in the same bucket, and to me that's wild, because we start our strategies by defining what influence really means. So whether it's someone who might be a digital content creator whose full-time job is, managing their social channels, producing YouTube videos, Reels, TikTok, they're really focused on content and they're experts in this space, versus someone that we define as a tastemaker who might be an entrepreneur, an activist, an athlete, an artist, and they've amassed a social following as a result of their passion, but it's not their full-time gig. And obviously the way you would approach a tastemaker is entirely different than a content creator. And then the third category we look to is like an expert. So this might be a doctor, a nutritionist, a stylist, people who really bring a large amount of credibility and are sharing their knowledge through social channels. Again, these people are really high-powered, busy folks, and they don't have the same sort of motivation behind collaborations as other categories. So I think it's really important. At its core, influence to me is always remain the same and will always remain the same. Back in the day when it was magazines or, pre-social media, influence always existed. But I think recognizing the different categories and types of influencers and really targeting ways to engage them for your brand that is meaningful not only for the creative, but for the brand is like step number one, and what so many brands get wrong. So that's kind of my thought on that. And the future of it, I mean, I've been told the influencer bubble will pop for like 10 years. I've had my business for 5. If anything, it's just expanding and blowing up. I've never seen it to the same level as it is today. But I do think, it's becoming way more sophisticated. There's platforms that are evolving to automate it. There's a lot of brands that are building their own proprietary software to engage with affiliate models and whatnot. But I kind of look at this, and as much as like we're advancing the way we're engaging with influencers, I think at its core, it's just a relationship. It's just a creative talking to a brand, speaking authentically about why they love a brand, a product, a service. And so many people get wrapped up in like, the metrics, the trackability, and creative briefs that just sound cringeworthy when they're executed. But at its core, it will always perform well if it's authentic and there's a genuine connection between the two. So I like to like pare it way down and just think about it at a base level. And to me, that will always exist. That's like,
Mhm.
you can't change that, you know?
Yeah, I've never thought about dividing the influencers up based on like the way that you did it. Like, I don't know, my mind has always gone like through size of following, like
Mhm.
nano, micro, macro, etc., or even like down into the niche, like health and wellness
Right.
style influencers, or even by like their primary category, like social media app form that they're on. So like a TikToker, an Instagrammer, a YouTuber, a podcaster. I've never thought to divide it onto like creatives, people who may be like an athlete or a chef or doctor, you
Yeah.
know, like I've never thought of it that way. So that's really interesting to me because I feel like I'm starting to dive more into running influencer campaigns and like exploring that side of things and being on the other side of the collaboration. So I found that really
Yeah,
interesting.
and it's exactly what you say. Actually, we have like a slide in our strategy decks which break down exactly what you said. It's like the various layers, what we call is like the type, which is a content creator, tastemaker, or expert, and then the tier, micro, mid-tier, macro, nano, and then the category, like you said, beauty, lifestyle, fashion, culinary, and all of those pieces define the way we like curate our influencers. But I think the first layer, which is type, is so important
Mhm.
because you can work with someone who has 5,000 followers, but is a really high profile chef who has crazy influence within their community offline.
Mhm.
And the way you engage them, how much they cost for partnerships is wildly different. And it's not related
Mhm.
on their reach or their category. And that's why that differentiation of type is so important, because it kind of like blows everything else out of the water. That makes
Mhm. No, that makes 100% sense.
sense.
Oh my God, wow, sense. Would you say that like the way that you've gone about in creating campaigns and running campaigns has changed over the years as like platforms have evolved, or would you say like your strategy it has pretty much remained the same?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, no, I would say a combination of the two. I think we've used every platform out there, from Grin, Tribe Dynamics, Creator IQ, you know, all of them. And while I think these type of platforms help to, you know, track performance to a certain degree, that the Instagram algorithm blocks what they can track. You can't track Instagram stories through these platforms, so they're missing a big portion of the results of a campaign, these
Mm-hmm.
platforms. So there's limitations in that sense, but also like from a curation standpoint, if you're developing a campaign and you're trying to find like the perfect influencer that speaks to the ethos of our client, it's not through like an algorithm in a platform that you're going to find them. It's really through like that human touch point. So I think to a certain degree, our approach has definitely shifted because we're constantly coming up with creative ways to engage influencers on new platforms. So TikTok, we have a ton of we've tested and tried many different ways to engage influencers in a really meaningful way on TikTok. And podcasts, we're thinking of ways, a lot of influencers like yourself have developed podcasts and finding ways to like support their business and build meaningful conversations, dialogues, for lack of a better word, but also make it like advantageous to our clients. And you know, we're constantly coming up with new strategies and ideas and ways to align with influencers. But
Being super busy can make it really easy to fall into a dinner time recipe rut, or even with your lunches. Any meal, honestly, can get you into a rut, especially with a busy schedule this fall. You can keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. It's truly a no-brainer. It does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep, pre-proportioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. It's never been easier. I personally love HelloFresh as a way to get exposure to new recipes, make my life a bit easier as a busy 20-year-old in the city. And I love that it's worry-free, it's super easy, it's convenient, and gets delivered straight to my door. Go to hellofresh.com/50ray and use code 50ray for 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/50RAE and use code 50RAE, 50RAE for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and thank you for sponsoring today's episode of Morning Ray.
This is the smell of a warm 3-day-old egg salad sandwich in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech. And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag with new Fabuloso lemon scent.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Smell the difference? When life gives you stinky, get Hefty Ultra Strong with new Fabuloso lemon scent. It smells like clean, freshly picked lemons. So no matter what's inside your trash, you can stop the stink and smell the lemon.
I wouldn't say there's like been a revolutionary technology that has shifted the way we do business because, I'm waiting for that day, but I think just the way in which like Facebook and Instagram manage and control the algorithm, there's not much that a platform can really do with those restrictions that will really, really like automate things much more than they already are.
For sure. I know I personally like prefer like when it's kind of like old fashioned, like I rather just like have conversations with my brand contact via email or setting up a call, have them send me over like a PDF deck, like as opposed to using platforms like Grin and having it like having to sync with my platform. And then like every single month it's like, well, the connection has expired and you have to like reconnect it. And then even then, like it doesn't grab all the stats. Then you have to like still on top of that manually screenshot it. Like I'd rather just do everything manually than attempt to use Grin or any of these other platforms. Yes, I feel like they're great in theory. I feel like they're great for like a lot of like those gifted, more mass campaigns. Where like a lot of like nano or micro influencers will just like sign up, get gifted product, and then create at their own will sort of thing.
Totally.
But I don't know, it feels more personable when I'm actually like talking to the brand and like have that one-on-one conversation with the brand rep, or maybe like there's a few people on that email thread. It just feels like I'm less like a number, like I'm a person and they're a person.
Totally. And we talked about this when we were having coffee. Like I completely agree with you on that. I mean, we do high volume gifting and exactly like you said, it's really about just getting, the product out there and people familiar with it and, hopefully creating UGC and great like inspiring content around it. But when we're engaging in paid collaborations with influencers, it's exactly the approach you take. Like it's not a matter of just mass sending out creative briefs to 50 different influencers and have them all just follow suit. It's really like we take the time to craft campaigns with the creative that resonates with them. So like, what are your passions? Are you going on a trip coming up? You just had a nephew. Are you interested? Like, have you had a change in your style, a change in your job? Like finding what is so authentic to the creative, having them come back to us with like a proposed way of crafting the campaign and integrating our client's brand. We found it just to be like insanely more effective and more inspiring and better relationships taking that approach. And, we found there's ways to make it scalable, but at the end of the day, brands are always coming to us of like, how do you get, this crazy conversion and turn influencer marketing into this like powerful tool that drives conversion? I'm like, hate to say it, but it's through the human touch point that you actually get that. It's not through, scaling and speeding up everything. So
yeah, I 100% agree on that. And I also think brand partnerships convert so much higher when they're long-term and they're not just like these one-off campaigns. And I think that gets missed a lot. Like a lot of brands will like work with like a content creator like once, maybe twice, and they're not putting like this long-term strategy. And I understand that sometimes budgets don't allow for it, or maybe the team isn't as educated or I don't know, or as experienced in the field. But what I've observed is even as like a consumer, I'm 10 times more likely to want to explore and check out a brand or purchase a product or a service when I continually see the influencer I'm looking to talk about it and speak about it. And because it comes across as more genuine, whether it's genuine or not, it still does because they've spoken about it multiple times. And it also just like keeps like reminding you, it goes into like that memory.
I think there's no question that like, multi-layers, we call it like a relationship roadmap, the ways to engage influencers in different varieties. And I think equally as important on the flip side for creators that are listening to and influencers is how important it is to be open to building those relationships. Like a lot of creators we talk to or like, you know, and 100%, I think it's important to know your worth and hold strong to your fees. But there's also like, you have to try a product and like it before you're going to like engage in a paid opportunity. And so there's a great way to like, you know, be seated the product, test it, try it, make sure you genuinely love it, come back with ideas of like, hey, this could be a really cool way to integrate this into my content or my lifestyle. There's a two-way street where brands need to be more thoughtful in the way they're engaging influencers long term. And I think influencers have to be open to really, like, it's a building a relationship, and there's like many steps, and you know, it takes sort of like both sides of the party kind of coming to it collaboratively.
Speaking of brands, I feel like everyone is trying to build a brand, whether it be a product or service offering, or maybe it's an influencer or personal brand. Everyone's like being told you should have like your own personal brand, whether you want to be in like the public eye or not. It's important to have that. What are some things, like even as like dialogue, like building that brand image within your clients and within the industry? What are things you wish you knew sooner, and what are maybe like 3 tips you would recommend to anyone who's looking to start in building a brand on any capacity?
Oh, good question. I mean, I feel like a few things. So we've worked with some amazing brands like as clients. And when I look at some of the ones that I'm just like blown away by the power behind their brands, from Gia to Sakara Life to Seed, Brooklinen, you know, there's sort of, I think at its core, it's about really like the product first and foremost. And no matter how shiny a marketing campaign or communications or design you can build around it, the marketer in me loves like an amazing, you know, launch strategy. But at the end of the day, if you're not providing a really valuable product, it's all for nothing. And so I think that's so important when you're thinking about it. If you want to launch a product as an influencer, definitely like what will bring value, but also if you just want to build your own personal brand as an influencer, like what content are you putting out there that truly offers value above and beyond and breaks through the social noise? There's so much noise, so much monotony, so much copycats, you know, on social media. Really like owning what's true to you, what like lights you up and what offers value is like step number 1. And I think that's so crucial. And then I think, you know, I think really being thoughtful around a way of an aesthetic, I would call it, because again, it's different if it's like a product or a service, but looking at the clients that we have worked with that are really successful, you know, they don't take shortcuts when it comes to design. From their product design to their websites to their social content, they're so thoughtful in the design and branding of it. And I think that goes hand in hand if it's like an influencer's personal brand as well. Like every single detail counts. From, if you think about it, when you order something and it arrives in your home and you open up the box, and it's like from the packaging to the labels to the email that you receive as a follow-up, like really being thoughtful of like the full design and customer touch point, I think is so crucial. And as a third, I think more than anything, again, how we're defining influence for our clients goes so far beyond just a traditional digital influence community. We're thinking of offline influence. We're thinking of word of mouth. We're thinking of VIP customers. Like influence today is so much more than just your reach on social. Some of the best performing, you know, influencers for our clients are long-term customers that absolutely love their product, that you know, share it with like 20 of their friends, and they're driving crazy impact. And that person might have 200 followers on social media. So I think it's really important to think of like, what are the pieces of your community around your brand? There's a time and a place for a huge macro influencer who can drive brand awareness. There's a time and a place for nano offline influence in terms of VIP customers, and just kind of thinking through like what the greater community looks like around your brand and how you're going to engage them thoughtfully. At the very beginning, you know, the brands, again, that I've seen to be super successful have found a way to really build meaningful relationships with their customers, with influencers, with creatives. And that takes time. Again, you can't really like shortcut that, but it's so powerful in the end.
Yeah, for sure. I think I even like want to help support brands that I have that personal connect to, right? Like even if I feel just like connected to their brand story or their founder's story or the content that they're putting out online, like maybe I haven't DM'd them or spoken to them directly, like I'm still like more likely to like buy product. I'm more likely to have word of mouth marketing going on, like telling my friends and family and like sharing that online. So I think it's really important. I would love to hear your take. I feel like more people are talking about how important it is for the founder or the face of the company to be active on the socials of a lot of brands. Like you see it with 437, which is a swimwear brand here in Toronto, and even like other brands you're seeing like the CEO or the founder or someone who holds quite a lot of power in the company coming on socials and doing day in the life of XYZ and XYZ company sort of content. And people like JT, I don't know if you know JT Barrett, I can't remember his last name, but he does a lot of like creator stuff.
Right.
He mentions the importance of the creator's face being present on social media. So I'd love to know what your opinion is on that.
Totally. Well, first, we've worked with a ton of clients that have influential founders. We just brought on Covey, which was founded by Emily DiDonato, and Melanie Mazarin of Gia, and Trinity of Gold. So we definitely worked with founders that have social influence, and certainly we bake that into our overall strategy. So we're thinking, how can we leverage the founders' reach and expertise and following to really kind of drum up meaningful relationships with the influencer community. So I think definitely it brings value. But also my biggest piece of advice is, yes, without question, having the founder be present and show behind the scenes and a little bit more humanity behind the brand is crucial, and it works. But I've seen time and time again of people try and, again, copycat or force a method that works for other founders. And so they've seen other founders launch a podcast and that's really effective, or they've seen other founders do consistent reels or TikToks. And if that's not authentic to you, like if you're not comfortable speaking on a podcast, if you're not comfortable creating TikTok videos, if you're not comfortable, capturing lifestyle imagery, if you force that, it's not going to work, and people see right through it. It's literally the basics of how to build influence. I'm sure you tell people all the time. Like you can look at what works for other creators, but if you copy and it's not authentic, it will not work. So there's no point. And so it's the same for founders. Like, don't be forced to do everything just because your competitor has a face of the brand that's doing that. Like, what feels good to you, what will light you up, and what will excite you to share? Is it like, are you a great writer and you want to write some blog posts that you can send out by email? Great. Like, if you don't want to be the face of it on social media, that's fine. Or, if you're wanting to really host like events because you love networking and connecting in real life with people, maybe that's a way you do, you leverage your influence. But I think just getting away from this like standard founder influencer kind of template, because it's so obvious when it's not authentic, and it causes more harm than good.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And I just found it like so interesting to see like this movement of founders like being more active, because I think before it was definitely more like hidden.
Totally.
Like they weren't so public, at least like on socials. They were maybe public in the sense of like in their network and going to events and having meetings and whatnot and in the face of the company. But we've just had like this recent trend of all these founders being like, day in the life as like the founder of XYZ company, like come along with me behind the scenes.
Totally. Yeah. And I think there's a hunger for people to see that. Like previously you'd have no idea how someone is running this business. And there's a lot of just getting to work face to face with so many epic female founders. I'm like amazed by them. But 3/4 of them do not want to share on social, and 1/4 of them do feel comfortable sharing on social their day-to-day. And the ones that do share, half the time they're not sharing the real truth, because it's not all a lovely, shiny day in the life. Like being a founder is, unsexy things like accounting and like, like there's a lot of day-to-day, like inventory or whatever it might be, legal contracts that aren't necessarily so sexy on social media. So I think there has to be a layer of like authenticity too. Like it's not always just like rainbows in the world. And I think those like day in the lives can really like skew to that. So but it's interesting. I find it fascinating to see what people's background and day in the life is. It's just a matter of like seeing the whole story.
I'm gonna make accounting sexy. I'm gonna do that.
I love it. You'd be the first. See, you're finding your niche.
New niche, guys. Accounting with Lan.
Yes, I love it. I'll be the first to tune in.
Thanks. I sucked at accounting in university. I was really good at memorizing like balance sheets and income statements. Like I could memorize it, but like I could never like really fully understand it.
I know. I'm having flashbacks to the accounting class is not fun.
No. So we're gonna segue into letting go of limiting beliefs. Here on Morning Ray, we talk a lot about career and college and being your own boss and all these things. But I think a huge part of being able to succeed and excel in our professional lives is our mindset and the way we view things. And I know a lot of us are people pleasers or tend to have people pleasing habits and mindsets that we fall into. And a lot of the times we let the beliefs or like what society says is okay or appropriate to do, or like the outline or the template for what our life should look like, we let others determine that for us. And I know you have gone through this journey of letting go of those limiting beliefs and really like doing what your heart desires. You did a 6-week intensive cooking course and you've like traveled all over and you've worked from so many different places. So how did you personally let go? Like what was that like aha moment for you? Because maybe someone listening is currently struggling with this themselves and are looking to move to that next step.
Totally. So I engaged and started working with a business coach.
Being super busy can make it really easy to fall into a dinner time recipe rut, or even with your lunches. Any meal, honestly, can get you into a rut, especially with a busy schedule this fall. You can keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. It's truly a no-brainer. It does all the shopping and meal planning for you. Ingredients arrive at your doorstep, pre-proportioned and ready to cook, along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. It's never been easier. I personally love HelloFresh as a way to get exposure to new recipes, make my life a bit easier as a busy 20-year-old in the city. And I love that it's worry-free, it's super easy, it's convenient, and gets delivered straight to my door. Go to HelloFresh.com/50Ray and use code 50Ray for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50RAE and use code 50Ray, 50RAE for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and thank you for sponsoring today's episode of Morning Ray.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Who specializes in exactly this mindset training about 2 years ago. And that has completely revolutionized my entire life. And I think I came to him when, dialogue has always been successful and profitable. And by all means, I was looking at, what I was working on and I was really proud of it. But for some reason, I think I would use the word like bored. I was just not really motivated. And so when I first started chatting with him, he just started pointing out all of these limiting beliefs that I was bringing up. So there's no way I would be able to live bicontinentally between New York and Paris. There's no way I would be able to win a, corporate, high profile client. There's no way I'd be able to hire a team remotely while I'm not in New York. There's like on and on and on and on. There's no way if I do X, Y, and Z, my clients will drop me. There's no way I can like empower my team to manage the work that I do. I have to do it all myself. There were so many of these things, have to, should, I can't. And he started just breaking down every single one of them. And so, 3 years ago, my husband and I, we got an apartment in Paris, in Montmartre, and we kept our apartment in Williamsburg, and we were going back and forth between Paris and New York and living between both cities 6 weeks, sort of alternating. That was pre-COVID. And I've now been able to hire a team of 8, and we've grown exponentially. And I think just through all of these things of like dismantling what society is telling you, and every time a thought like that comes up, like I won't be able to keep my New York clients because I'm working Paris hours and they're going to want me online at 2 a.m. and I have to work like New York hours in order to maintain my clients. It's just not true. It's like, and the moment I started to establish my boundaries and really just like focus on doing amazing work, it's amazing how much people, don't care where you are or what you're doing. If you're just doing phenomenal work, they don't care what time zone you're on or whatnot. So I think, I'm a huge, huge believer of that. Everything that you think is impossible, I would argue 99.9% you can dismantle. And there's always a way around it. And I've proven to myself time and time again, I've crafted these like outlandish goals and I've been able to achieve them in a short period of time just because, it's so cheesy, but I really just believe in like positive mindset and being self-aware and hearing what you're telling yourself and what others are telling you and what you're being influenced by, and just, you don't give those thoughts any power because you're in control and whatever you want to do is like your decision, nobody else's. So
I think it's all about how you frame everything in your mindset, because there's always multiple ways that you can look at any situation. But if you choose to look at it in a way that's the glass half full, that abundance mindset, that positive mindset, finding that silver lining, you're going to find that solution to the problem that you're trying to fix, or you're going to figure out a way to make it work. Versus if you're looking at the glass as half empty, and you're picking out all the negativity in the situation, well, then for sure you're not going to be able to solve it, and you're not going to be able to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve because you're just pushing yourself down. So I even noticed like in myself, like the moment I flipped that switch and reframe things, those goals I was trying to accomplish, I was able to accomplish, and if not surpass it, and I was able to do it a lot faster, and I was then able to move on to the next thing. So it really is your perspective, and I think like really shifting into that abundance mindset has helped me, and I've seen it help my friends when I've tried to encourage them to think that way too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like as much as there's so much, and I'm still working with that same coach like 2 years later, and I think I still have limiting beliefs. Like it's it's not something that you like overcome and like destination. I'm constantly thinking of, what I can, what sort of fences I can step over, but also I think that oftentimes there's a lot of noise, whether it's from our families, our loved ones, our colleagues, of people. I can't tell you the amount of times people were like, oh my God, you're going to start your own business? Like, that's risky. Don't you want the stability of a salary? Or like, oh, you're launching something in influence marketing. Exactly like you said, isn't the bubble going to pop? Or like all of these people have these beliefs, and oftentimes they can be really powerful if you respect that person. But I've just always used those phrases as like power. I'm like, let me prove you wrong. It's like, nothing I love more than someone telling me I can't do it. Like, oh, you'll never be able to like live between New York and Paris. I'm like, great. Let me prove to you that I can. And you just have to like use that almost as like fuel for yourself. I love it. I'm like, tell me everything. Like whenever someone's like, it's not possible, I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what I need, because I'm going to add it to my list of what like I'm going to prove you wrong on, you know?
It's like you think you're demotivating me, but only you're just making me more motivated. You're lighting the fire. Like you're adding the gas. Like
Totally. Like, keep it coming. I'd love to hear all of your limitations, you know?
Yeah. I feel like we can talk forever, as we even like experienced with our coffee little meeting when we were in New York. But we're going to wrap things up. If the listeners take one thing away from this entire episode, what do you want to leave them with?
Ooh. I think it would be that when it comes to consulting or influence or creating a brand, there's so much urgency for speed, for fast growth, for like outward projection of success. I mean, there's so much pressure on all of us, but at its core, it really just comes down to value. Like, I started Dialogue with a mentor who believed in me, who gave me my first client opportunity, worked my ass off, and one referral led to the next. It came to hard work and value that I offered that brand. It was Shiseido at the time, which led to the growth of my company. With influence, it's like the influencers that I really see skyrocket and grow, there's no like hack or like shortcut. They're offering epic value through content to their customers. And same with brands. Like, so many brands would just launch with like, you know, a ton of fundraise money, slap a brand on it, and like wonder why they're not seeing epic growth. But it's like, what is your product stand for? What's the value you're offering your customers? And so I think what I would say across the board is just like focus on value and think through what it is that, you know, is unique to you, which lights your fire, and that you can offer others. And like, success is inevitable in any way, shape, or form. You just can't shortcut that. So,
and also like sometimes like it's slow at first, and then it will like pick up. Like, you never know. Like, just like keep being consistent with it, and it will come. It will come when it's supposed to.
And I would argue, trust the process. Guaranteed to start off slow. Like that's guaranteed. You have to start somewhere. Like, I remember literally sitting, like I quit my job and I'm like, oh my God, like how am I gonna get these clients? Like, there's a moment where it's scary, and that's guaranteed. That's part of the process. And probably, you know, equally the same with building social influence. It can feel like it takes forever and it's not working. What am I doing wrong? And so I would say like that, like second question yourself is inevitable. So just accept it. The same as like the criticism, use it as fuel. Are you?
I love that. And where can the listeners find you and Dialogue?
Yeah, I'm Julianne Fraser on Instagram is my handle. And Dialogue is dialoguenyc.com is our website, and our Instagram handle is Dialogue NYC as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
It's so great chatting with you.
So great chatting with you as well. If you guys like this episode of Morning Ray, make sure to leave a rating in Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, as that's how you can help support the podcast. I love you guys so much, and we'll chat soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.